are the New York Knicks. I'm back in the New York groove. Well, it's the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York girl. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks is taking no shorts, it's like winter. New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is
K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Go New York, go New York, go!
All right, welcome to the New York Knicks podcast, episode 614. How you doing, Mark?
Good. Jay, let me ask you. If the Knicks had blown the game last night and lost, would Julius Randle stepping in bounds when he was trying to inbound the ball have gone down to be like the opposite of the 4-point play? Be that one play that lived in infamy as being the single, like one of the worst plays in Knicks history.
Welcome to the New York Knicks podcast, episode 614. How you feeling, Mark?
I am feeling good. The Knicks pulled off a victory. It was ugly, but it was a W, and it's the playoffs, and the only thing that matters in the playoffs are W's.
It sure does. It was a gross, ugly win, but it was a win.
Yes.
You win
Jay,
by 100, you win by 1, it's still a win.
The 4-point play, Larry Johnson, an all-time great play, right?
It was, yeah, very memorable.
Yes. Would the Julius Randle stepping in bounds and screwing up the inbound play, if the Knicks had lost a game, had been maybe the opposite of that? Like an all-time terrible play in Knicks history if the Knicks had lost the game?
That would have been just soul-crushing. Like, let's not even finish the series bad. It cost me $200 on my multi-game parlay because I had the Heat for under 104, and Duncan Robinson hit a 3 because of that turnover. So that was fun.
I mean, I was like, the game is over. The Knicks have gotten, I think the Knicks were up by like 10, and then they were up by 8. And then Julius Randle screws up the inbound pass, and then Robinson hits the 3, and suddenly I am scared.
So how are you feeling after the game now about the series in general? What's your confidence level? How you doing?
Let's see. If 1 to 10, with 10 being supremely confident, like we're playing the Cavs, 1 being super not confident, I'm like a -3. Where are you?
I am slightly higher than you. I'm going to put myself at like a 2. I thought without Butler, Hero, and Oladipo, the Knicks would win by 20. It was a struggle. It
turns out you have to actually kill a bunch of players in the Heat before the Knicks have an easy win.
And then Strus went out for a little bit, and like guys I'd never even heard of were coming in and hitting threes. You were joking if they had a guy from the crowd just come in, would he start hitting threes? We probably wouldn't even have noticed because they had so many random guys coming in and immediately just.
So 10 guys played minutes for the Heat yesterday. How many of them were undrafted free agents?
I know this one. 7.
I was going to say 5.
There's 7 on the team. I don't know if.
Yeah. I mean, like, so obviously the guys, obviously Love was drafted. Caleb Martin is undrafted. Bam's drafted. Gabe Vincent is undrafted. Strus, 3 of the 5 starters were undrafted. Duncan Robinson is undrafted. I think Heisman must have been the other one that was undrafted because Zeller was drafted and Lowry was drafted.
Right.
It's 5 of 9. Sorry, 5 of 9. That's how the hell did the Heat make a team? And I understand the Heat have a bunch of injuries, but how did the Heat keep pulling guys off the scrap heap that no one seems to want and building like a competitive team out of it?
It's their system. I mean, they have a great coach. They have a great system. The ball movement is amazing. Like there's 5-6 passes on every play. I guess allowing illegal screens helps.
I mean, they are a very, very well-run organization. They have a great coach, a coach that probably we all underappreciated because when he was first in the league, you were like, well, anyone can coach like LeBron and like Bosh and Wade. Like, how hard is this? But it turns out they got a very good coach.
They got a good coach. They got a good. They have a good plan for offense and defense. It's like they know that the Knicks don't have a lot of good shooters, so they clog up the paint and they force the Knicks to win from the outside, which is a great strategy against the Knicks.
I think we talked about that strategy before the series,
The
or
Knicks-
maybe before the Cleveland series. I mean, that's not there's nothing like you don't have to be a visionary to figure out the strategy of like let the Knicks shoot from three.
The Knicks need more shooters.
They need more shooters. I mean, like realistically, the Knicks are the reason they were highly offensive rate. They had a very high offensive rating was because they're really good at offensive rebounds, and they have low number of turnovers, but they are not a great shooting team.
That's definitely something they should address in the offseason.
Well, we can get to the offseason. We're hoping the offseason does not come for a while, and we can address that in then. But one thing I was thinking about this for the series. Have the Heat kind of proven to you why the regular season sometimes is overrated? Like your record in the regular season.
I'm trying to figure out how they were so mediocre in the regular season. I mean, I guess because they were the 26th best three-point shooting team, which seems crazy to me since like the whole team is shooting well now. But
yeah, I mean, I think partly. There's certain...
thank you for the
come on.
thank you for the follow.
Okay.
That
Explains for anyone that doesn't know what that means. That is.
That happens when we get a follow on Twitch, twitch.tv/crumpledbacon. Thank you.
Okay. All I'm just thinking, like, if you look at like Cleveland had 50 wins or whatever number of wins, I think they had 50, and the Heat had 44 wins. The Heat are clearly a better team than the Cavs. The extra wins the Cavs were able to to get in the regular season didn't really matter when it came playoff time.
I mean, I don't know if I still feel like the Cavs have more talent.
The Cavs lost in 5 games. They did not put up that great. I mean, overall, they did not put up that great of a fight. They're not a bad team. The Heat are, I mean, obviously the series is just 1-1 right now, but like the Heat are a better team than the Cavs. And the Heat also have beaten the Bucks. The Cavs would have lost to the Bucks also.
I guess, but I mean, going roster again, like you're saying Garland and Mitchell are worse than like Vincent and Strus.
Right. Forget going the roster. It's just the parts. The parts sound better in Cleveland, but the actual team is better with Miami, better with the Knicks. Like the parts are great, but you have to be able to play well as a team.
Yeah.
And Cleveland had the issues of like, well, like Mobley sounds great and like Allen sounds great, but they're also two two smaller bigs, I guess, or just like bigs that got pushed around a little bit. Your guards didn't come up big when they were supposed to come up big. I mean, clearly Cleveland did not have Cleveland had a great regular season and choked in the playoffs.
They did. We complained that the Knicks don't seem to have a system. The Cavs had less of a system.
I think my bigger point is not to knock on the Cavs, but just say like the Heat were maybe the 8th seed, and also just the end at the 8th seed because they like screwed up the play-in game. But they're better than an 8th seed. They're a really good team.
Yeah, they are. Spo is one of the best coaches in the NBA. They should just give him a lifetime contract.
I mean, it would be crazy to ever get rid of him. He's also like, what is he in his early 50s? Because he was young when he joined.
Yeah, I think he might even be younger than that. I thought he was in his 30s when he became coach.
You might be right, but I was just thinking like he can't be that young. How old is he? He's 52. Okay. I'm just he could like you could make him the coach for another 10 years easily in Miami. But like they have a great system. They're like, we need to add more players. Let's find some guys who weren't drafted and see if we can make them stars.
Mm-hmm. That's how you know you have a good system. There's some teams where it seems like no matter who they put in, it works. Like Golden State is like that, other than Weissman. But everybody else seems like they just put whoever in and it seems to just work.
Well, Toronto does that also. They're pretty good at developing, like, even though Toronto didn't have a great season overall, they're pretty good at developing not undrafted players.
Right.
And it seems like the Heat know what they're looking for in the sense they find guys that play really hard. I think I talked last show about how like everyone on their team plays like just as hard as Josh Hart does. Not that they're as good, but like they all play insanely hard in every play.
Yeah, there was a stretch where it was almost like the reversal of the Knicks Cavs series, where everyone on the Heat was getting the loose balls. They got like 3 offensive rebounds in a row. They were just really, really hustling, and that's when I thought like we were done for. But Brunson got really hot in the 4th. Hart made a couple of really key plays. Mitch came back. I think putting Grimes in really kind of turned things around. He's been a nothing on offense, but RJ was kind of getting roasted, and then when Grimes went in, that's when the game turned around.
Yeah, no, RJ, first of all, RJ has been playing on offense really great this series and the last 3 games of the Cleveland series. He's been playing. Playoff RJ's been better than regular season RJ.
So much
But
better.
defense is still a little lacking, obviously. Yeah, I like the lineup of having Hart. Someone texted me, they were like, why is Hart and Grimes out there? Because the Knicks were down at this point. They're like, they're down. They need scoring. Why are they both out there? Like, they need defense also. You're not going to win without stopping the other team.
Yeah. Yeah.
How were you feeling throughout this game? I remember like this game, the Knicks were up at the end of the first quarter, but like the first quarter was also insanely ugly. Where I'm like, how are the Heat hanging with us without Jimmy Butler?
Yeah, at first I was like, okay, this is close, but they're hitting a lot of shots and they're gonna get gassed.
Yeah,
and
gas thing.
The Knicks have a deep bench, they don't. Blah blah blah. And then second quarter, it was still close. And then I'm like, maybe this just isn't working out. But I was in like almost meltdown mode by the third quarter.
It was reminding me of like a football game where you have like a really good team versus like a not great team, where the first half, where the bad team kind of hangs with like the good team, and you're like, oh, maybe they have a shot. And in the second half, they just get run over.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept thinking the second half, the Knicks are they're gonna win by 20, or like, they're gonna gas them. They're gonna like Miami's giving their all in the first half, and they're gonna be done basically. The shots will stop falling. I'm just looking now. I didn't realize Kevin Love shot 2 for 9. So I remember he had a couple shots, and I was like, even Kevin Love was playing well, but I guess he did not play well.
Yeah, he was off. Oh, hold on. Yeah, so Love didn't play well, which you would think would be a really good sign, but then like you got good minutes out of Zeller, which was one of the last things I saw coming. Right? Like,
he didn't play that many, but I know Jimmy Butler didn't play last night, but did he use some kind of Ouija board to play like within Caleb Martin and Gabe Vincent? Like he was channeling them, or they were channeling him?
It was, you look at their final numbers, like, Gabe Vincent started off on fire, but he didn't finish off great.
He still got 20. They both still got 20. There were plays like where like Caleb Martin was going to the basket and the Knicks couldn't stop him. It was like ridiculous.
Yeah.
Gabe Vincent was like, I guess he finished 4 for 12, but he was hitting some threes. You were like, what the, like, how does he keep hitting these goddamn shots?
At the end of the day, though, they only shot 34.7% from 3. They took a lot more, and they took more shots from the field. So even though they shot worse from the field and the worse from 3, really the Knicks won at the free throw line. The Knicks hit 9 more threes despite missing 9 threes, which they're really killing me with the threes. Like, the free throws.
The free throws, yeah.
Like, yeah, they.
Well, Mitchell Robinson gets fouled and misses a couple a game. It is brutal. He really needs to go to he's got to do the between the leg thing. Like, it's just not working. The lasers he shoots at the basket are not working.
He's got to watch tape of Dirk. Dirk has a huge arc. Like, I know it's harder when you're 7 feet tall because you're almost in line with the hoop. But Dirk's solution to that was to throw a super high arc, and it
Dirk
worked.
was an all-time great shooter. Mitch is not going to figure that out. Whereas the Rick Barry between the legs, I know it's embarrassing, but at the same time, he would be so much goddamn better if you do that.
Yeah. I don't know. Take 1,000 a day. Just do that.
I think the centers that we refuse to goddamn do between the legs thing. Like, I get why it's a little bit more awkward for Mitchell Robinson, but like, just try it between the legs, and when they go in, it'll just feel. I don't care what anyone else says, as long as you're making the goddamn shots.
I won't make fun of him if he's shooting 75%. I'll be totally happy.
Yeah. It's because it's really just crazy how many he misses. It's like he misses like 4 a game at least.
Well, he's 48% for the season.
It's terrible. It's goddamn terrible. You can't have
really
your center being that bad.
You could if he's putting up numbers like prime Shaq, but he's not putting up the offensive numbers to make up for that.
No, it's just a matter of like when you foul him when he's going for the shot, you basically just prevent the Knicks from getting 2 points.
Yeah, I'm glad they're not, but I'm surprised they haven't done hack a Mitch.
You should. I mean, why not?
You know why not? Because a lot of these teams now are just not deep enough to. Have you noticed a lot of these playoff teams have like no bench?
Like the Knicks?
I mean, the Knicks are supposed to have the deepest bench in the playoffs, and a lot of them have just no-showed for.
Yeah, Miami seems to have a deeper bench right now. But yes.
Which is weird because I thought Lowry was washed up like 2 years ago.
I always feel like a guy like Lowry who looks washed up for the regular season can put just enough together for a playoff run. He's going to be a factor suddenly.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not like an all-time great, but like he's a very, very good player and was really good in the playoffs for a number of years. Like it's not crazy for him to be able to put it together like at this age.
Yeah,
for spurts at least.
For spurts, like I don't, Game 2 was a lot worse for Lowry and Love than Game 1. They'll probably have a good Game 3 because there's so much time in between games, but then it's every other day for like the rest of the series.
So here's a question: what should the starting lineup be? Should Grimes go back to the starting lineup? Should Hart stay in the starting lineup? What would you do? Should IQ go to the starting lineup? What should they do for starting lineup? Because you need the starting lineup to play well, but you also need the bench to play well.
Yeah, that's the problem.
The bench is giving them very little.
Hart going to the starting lineup. Hart's awesome. Probably my favorite Knick, but the bench has been really, really lacking. Maybe you need Hart back on the bench. Start Grimes, maybe IQ.
I mean, either way, Hart's going to play plus 30 minutes in the game.
Yeah.
But it's just that him being out there more with the bench unit, when Hart joined the team, the bench unit became so much better. Mm-hmm. And now the bench unit was really lacking.
Yeah, I think they might need that. Maybe Grimes, because I feel like IQ and Hart have pretty good chemistry.
Yeah, then that's fine. I mean, I was thinking that maybe you put IQ and then you can have both Grimes and having Grimes and Hart out there together, you have quite a good defensive lineup. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, they did the whole regular season having Grimes out there to start. Why would you want to shake that up right now in the playoffs?
I just don't think he's, he had the shoulder injury and then he's been playing. He played 10 minutes in Game 1. He's back to 26 minutes, so I guess he's healthy enough.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't had a good playoffs as far as shooting, but I don't know. The show's got to get healthier and healthier. So you need him shooting threes. Like it's a weapon the Knicks need if they want to win the series and do well. You can't just suddenly have one of your better 3-point shooters just not show up for the playoffs. Like Quickly and Grimes have both not showed up for the playoffs. I mean, Grimes' defense was good last game, but Grimes and Quickly have been completely MIA.
Their offense has been non-existent, and it's bad. I mean, the Knicks got outscored 22-12 for bench-wise in Game 2.
And it's usually the thing is, the Knicks aren't also they don't even want to play another team and have the benches be even as amount of points. The Knicks, one of their advantages is the bench. The Knicks bench should always outscore the other team's bench.
Yeah.
If they want to play well.
That's their strength. That's their strength.
I did feel like last night Quickly only played 9 minutes, and he did seem like he was kind of getting, at least from inside the arc, he seemed to be getting a rhythm before he was pulled. And I get he was pulled for Brunson, and Brunson went on Brunson just took his game to the next level at that point, so It was the right move. But I feel like Quickly is getting a little more comfortable in the playoffs.
A little bit, yeah.
I do want to see him to go back to getting 15 to 20 minutes and see. I mean, again, it's just two of the Knicks' big weapons were Quickly and Grimes, and they're just giving us so little in the playoffs in terms of the offense. They've got to get better.
Yeah. I mean, Quickly was good in the paint. Still 0 for 4 from 3. He had some good looks too. They're just
he
not
shot
falling.
One long one, but the rest were pretty good looks. He's gotta make the shots.
Yeah.
Hart was awesome last night. Hart was goddamn awesome. He almost got a triple double.
Yeah, 1 assist shy of his first career triple double. He also had a team high plus 16.
Yeah, he was. There was that. So I love the sequence of like in the fourth quarter. First, he hits the corner three, then he's going for another corner three, misses it, but gets the rebound, shoots again. Like he kept getting the rebounds. Like even if he missed the three, he'd get the rebound. Like he's goddamn. He's such a fun player.
He is, and he's hilarious. Like even after games, he's always eating food, trying to make Brunson laugh. It's so funny.
I mean, I know the Knicks are going to sign him, but if they do not sign him, I would lose my mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're such a great combination. But so my first question really was so we agree Grimes should go back to the starting rotation and Hart goes to the bench.
Yeah, and it's nothing against Hart. It's just the bench needs some sort of shakeup.
Do you think they should go back to also? So Tibbs hasn't been doing like his rotations were more regular in the regular, more like standard in the regular season. He'd go like but Barrett would come out.
Record.
We had an audio issue, so I'm not sure where we lost that. But I was just saying, what do you think of Tibbs' rotations in the playoffs?
They've been all right. I mean, he's definitely tightened them up, which most coaches do. I can't really knock him for like benching RJ was a pretty ballsy call, and it worked. I mean,
RJ was having a good game. I don't know if you call it benching as much as just sticking with the hot hands. Like the team, like they went on a big run. Why would you change that lineup?
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of teams would.
No,
a
I mean,
lot
like,
of coaches would.
So Tibbs gets a lot of shit in the past of dying. He's now done that twice in the playoffs, where basically the lineup out there was on a run, so Randle didn't come back in the game.
Yeah.
And here the lineup was playing really well, so RJ, who's having a very good game, did not come back in the game.
Yeah.
I guess early in the game, I like having the RJ come out halfway through the first quarter, come back in. I like the idea of Randle not playing. I'd like Randle not to play the entire first quarter and Brunson not to play the entire first quarter before they come out. Maybe having like a little more working in some rest in between quarters so they can play most of the second quarter also.
Yeah, I think IQ came in with like a minute and a half left or something like that. It wasn't like, I don't even see the point of doing it like that. Like you couldn't give him like 3 minutes at the end of the first.
I also like the lineup that has I like having Randle out there with Brunson, but I like the lineup also that has Brunson without Randle and had Brunson with Obi a little bit also.
Mm-hmm. Like
when you stagger them a little bit.
Yeah, no, totally agree. But overall, I mean, I think his rotations have been decent. Like, you know, it's not like he's playing the starters 45 minutes each and.
No, and guys play more minutes anyway in the playoffs. It's kind of a given.
I mean, even with the more playoff minutes, the Knicks had nobody play 40 minutes yesterday.
I mean, Gabe Vincent played 40 minutes, so like even like the best coaches have guys play 40 minutes at this point.
Yeah.
So next question to you, Jay.
Mm-hmm.
Did it matter having Randle back?
Yeah, it mattered a lot.
Because a lot of fans seem to think like, we don't even need Randle. Why would we need our all-star?
First quarter, Randle gets the ball. He's around the free throw line. He gets triple teamed, and he kicks the ball out to RJ for a three. That is like Obi's not drawing that kind of attention. That three does not happen without Randle because he draws that much attention, and he's a pretty willing. There's some times where you're like, I wish he would pass more, but. He does look for his teammates. He's second on the team in assists. He does move the ball.
Yeah, I mean, I think you mentioned you were debating someone on Twitter about this, and they said, well, we had open threes the game before. We just weren't hitting them. It's not just about that. I mean, Randle really draws he's a center of gravity. The teams have to double team him, and that allows Brunson to shoot open threes. That allows it gives you so many more opportunities, so many more things you can do when a guy commands double teams. Right.
Yeah. And the Knicks did lose game one because they missed every shot. But in a 7-game series, you need a guy like Randle. Like, you just do.
Yeah.
He was big. He was big. And, you know, you need that player to draw a lot of attention.
You also need guys
that open.
I say you also need guys who want to score, who can create their own shot. The Knicks don't have that many guys that really do that. Like Obi, I like Obi, but Obi doesn't he doesn't have that quality of like where he's going to create his own shot and like try to really get a basket. Who else besides Brunson and Randle? Who else have that quality on the Knicks? Really, I mean, I guess IQ creates his own shot.
Mm-hmm.
Not many other guys do that on a consistent basis.
I mean, Randle also draws fouls, and when you're against a team that's thin, that's huge. I mean, look what happened to Cleveland when they got in foul trouble. Like they had nothing. They don't have anybody coming off the bench.
Yeah,
they could have used Kevin Love.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a big difference. Also, like as far as guarding, also like you can now guard like you could put Randle on. You could put Randle on defense. Who was Randle covering yesterday? Was he covering Bam, or was it Mitch? Was just Mitch covering Bam?
Mitch was covering Bam, but Randle was on Love.
On Love, and I guess when Love was out, maybe Duncan. You just have more options when you have a guy who's his size to cover people.
Yeah, I mean, if they do a switch, like Bam's not going to bully Randle.
Right, and they also have to put a big guy on him. You can't like take a big guy and put him on like. You have to worry about him basically.
Right,
which is a big deal.
It's like, yeah, please put Duncan Robinson on Randle. See what happens.
Yeah. So I don't think, is there another team in the league where one of their star players, one of their best players is disrespected by fans, where fans are like, we don't even need him?
Westbrook.
Yeah, but Westbrook also like he's very disrespected by fans, and the league and people generally. And he was really good in the playoffs outside of that first game when he didn't shoot that well, but he played really great in defense. But oh
yeah, and JS says Randle puts a physical toll on the defense. He's exhausting to cover. That's a good point too.
That is a very good point. Also, I think he's the most for Westbrook. Did not used to be disrespected. I don't know with also Westbrook being a little bit older and not quite as good as he used to be. I don't think there's anyone else who's a current all-star who gets this little respect.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Especially from their own fan base.
From their own fan. I mean, really just from their own fan base is where I'm going with that. Like, I think it's frustrating when fans like, you don't have to say like, you could say like you could say Jalen Brunson's a better player. He's more valuable. And the Knicks could win a game without Randle, but you really need him to play well if you want to win the series.
Yeah.
And you want to go far in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
You want to do some questions?
Yeah.
Okay. Frank writes, do you, and this is from Facebook. Frank writes, do you keep Hart in the starting lineup or move Grimes back? Do you think there's a correlation between IQ's poor play and Hart not coming off the bench with him? I guess we did the first part, but the second part, do you think there's any correlation?
Maybe a little bit just because they have good chemistry, but IQ has played so bad. It's hard to tell what is really causing that. I mean, I don't know if I'd say he's got the playoff jitters. He played in the Atlanta series, so it's not like it's his first playoffs.
He's still a young player, though. I mean, that was his rookie year. This is year 3. I think sometimes young players don't play as well as you'd hope they would in the playoffs. And they can get better over time. This is the first year that IQ really showed up and became like a really like he went from being a guy that was like an average bench player to being like an elite bench player this year. I mean, a guy that could start for a lot of teams. Maybe put a lot of pressure on himself for the playoffs, and now he's trying to like. And some guys just like shit the bed sometimes in the playoffs. I think the longer we play, he's going to have some good games. Also, I'd be shocked if he doesn't.
He needs to play in the flow of the game. Maybe. I don't know. He's like trying too hard. You know what I mean? Like he's not playing like he's in his own head.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what happened to Randle to a certain extent in the Atlanta series and like maybe earlier on in the Cleveland series.
I mean, the Atlanta series it also didn't help that Randle had almost no help and he was just triple teamed the whole game. But he also wasn't great. He wasn't great. But
no, it didn't help that Randle also was playing on a bum ankle for like part of the Cleveland series. But
yeah,
either way, like some guys like. And Grimes also, he's a second-year player. In theory, those guys will play. Maybe next year we go back to the playoffs. They'll play better. Like each year, they'll get more experience and get better at this.
Yeah.
But I would say Hart was coming off the bench earlier, and IQ was still sucking. So maybe IQ just needs like 1 or 2 shots to fall early in the game, and he'll have his confidence. Q writes, is Mobley a good defender on Randle, or is Randle playing through injuries for his bad performance against Cleveland? Was Mobley just really good, or was Randle injured?
Well, Randall was injured, and Mobley was in the running for Defensive Player of the Year. So it's a combination of the two.
Yeah. Hugh also writes, what happened to our bench production?
It's a great question. It's been terrible.
I think Deuce should play. Should Deuce play a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, if one of the guys is just clearly off that night, bring in Deuce.
Yeah, I mean, like at the worst case, you get another guy who can play really good defense.
Try for 5 minutes. If it doesn't work, pull him out again.
It can't hurt. Bfar writes 2 questions. How much of the game 2's stressful win was the Heat's toughness, and how much was the Knicks shooting themselves in the foot every time they clawed back?
Sorry, read that again.
Basically, were the Heat really tough, or did the Knicks just kept screwing up? Basically,
I guess that goes with Jay Shady's question. Does it worry you that they struggled to beat the Heat without Jimmy Butler? The Heat are well disciplined and well coached, and the Knicks also missed an abnormal amount of shots. I felt like offensively it kind of came together much better in game 2. So hopefully that's a turning point. But they're gonna have to have counter, secondary and tertiary options on offense, because Spoelstra is definitely going to make some adjustments. So they can't go in expecting game 3 to go exactly like game 2.
I mean, in fairness, they were missing Jimmy Butler, but we were missing Sims, so it's pretty even. Of course it worries you that they were missing Butler and we barely beat them. I mean, how could that not worry you?
Yeah.
But I would say, like, sometimes your team's missing their best player and they step up for a game. I don't know. It's definitely worrying. Bfar also writes, second, love Hart, but how would you feel about him coming off the bench again and having Grimes start, even if Hart plays 35 minutes? Just have Hart try to pick up the pace for the second unit so Toppin and Quickly can flourish. Doesn't hurt to try and get Grimes some shots early. I'll hang up and listen off air. I like that.
That seems to be a common question theme tonight.
Yeah, I would say he makes a good point, what the Knicks have not done a good job of. Get Grimes involved early.
Yeah.
I think that would be great to get him a couple threes early, get him in the flow. That would make a big difference. And also, Obi did almost nothing last night. Right. What do you think of? And part of it, like, Obi only played a short amount of time, and he didn't really, like, he did not get involved at all. What did you think of Obi last night?
I barely noticed him in the game. It was only 10 minutes, and what did he take? One shot? Like,
I remember him getting one rebound, and apparently that was the only rebound he actually got.
Yeah. So yeah, it wasn't. It's hard to judge. Yeah, he took 2 shots.
He missed 2 threes. Why does Obi? And I said this on Twitter, and people gave me a lot of crap. And I said, basically, this man Obi should not be shooting 11 threes per game, and I know he hit 4 of the threes last game, but the bigger point was Obi's skill set. I'm fine with him shooting a couple of threes, but the dude, he can jump through the roof. He's got to be driving to the basket. He's got to torture a team by, like, taking it down low. What's the point of all these jumping skills if he's just shooting threes? Yeah.
I think you kind of got misinterpreted on that. The point is, he had a decent game shooting the 3, but for his career, he's not a very good 3-point shooter, and you don't want somebody like that who's good driving the lane to take 11 threes a game.
He should be cutting to the basket, getting dunks, driving, using his agility. He's not a terrible 3-point shooter. He's not an amazing 3-point shooter. 4 for 11 is not a horrible performance. It was the best the Knicks had the game before. But
it's league average. It's fine.
It's league average, but, like, I mean, do we really, like, that's what we want? Everyone was, like, during the regular season, they were like, They're like, Tibbs is planting Obi in the corner. Tibbs is planting Obi in the corner. How about Obi leave the guy? Like, take the action, take the initiative to leave the corner.
Yeah.
Be more dangerous. Be more dynamic on offense.
Agreed.
Yeah, I don't think no one looks at Obi and is like, I hope he can be our next Steve Novak. I think it's just ridiculous basically. And if he hit 5, great. If you hit a high number of threes, that's wonderful. I just don't think he's the guy you want shooting ever. Even I guess if he's on fire, great. But like you want him doing more than just shooting 11, like just shooting threes.
Yeah.
But it would be helpful for him to be out there with Josh Hart, maybe quick, just like he'd be helpful for a faster moving offense. The Miami really is good at slowing the game down. And that's the half court game is not great for Toppin.
Agreed.
I did like Highheart had one outlet pass, one Kevin Love outlet pass yesterday. We got to do more of those, more of the outlet passes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, whatever, right? And yeah, whatever is the if people don't know him on Twitter, there's no greater Tibbs supporter. He absolutely loves Tibbs, right, Jay?
We tell him every day, like, you're not going to nitpick him at all. And he's like, nope, perfect coach. Never made a bad decision ever.
Yeah, he's like, I love Tibbs. I've never seen a better coach. Anyway, he writes, why is Tibbs getting outcoached? A, is he too stubborn and narrow-minded? B, is he too old and lacks energy? C, is he overhyped and actually not that good? D, is he Leon's buddy? E, he's an awesome coach who will take the Knicks to the championship.
You know he picked E.
Yes, of course. I know. Yeah, whatever. Loves Tibbs. I don't. No one stands out to me more than Tibbs. Like his own family. No one else loves Tibbs more than yeah, whatever. Anthony writes, can we get our team to move the rock like the Heat? OMG.
I don't think so. I mean, that's not a thing that you can just pick up. Like, I mean, maybe next season, but that takes like months of training. Like,
yeah,
it's really nice to watch, though. I have to admit.
The Heat had 24 assists yesterday. The Knicks had 23. The Knicks are still figuring out how to like set guys up. It's just more of a ISO drive to the basket type offense that if the Knicks hit their threes, we wouldn't even. Actually, the Knicks hit the threes at a pretty good clip yesterday overall. I mean, they hit 40%, but like,
yeah,
if the Knicks hit their threes, you're not really caring that much about like how the Knicks are doing the rest of their offense.
Yeah.
Everything else opens up.
It does.
Also, I mean, if you look at Miami's strategy, it was like leave the Knicks open from 3. Game 1, it worked. Game 2, it didn't work.
Yeah,
for the most part. Mostly, just don't leave Jalen Brunson open from 3. I think that's what it really. But can we talk about Barrett was 5 for 9 from 3?
He's been really offensively. He's been really good for 5 straight playoff games now.
Did we talk about this? There's some rumor that like his girlfriend had broken up with him and then she got back together with him. And when she got back together with him, that's when he started playing awesome in the playoffs.
Yeah, between games 2 and 3 is when she posted a picture of him on Instagram. So the rumor is they got back together. Please don't break up with him until the playoffs are over.
I was like, I mean, I don't want to like, can we, if the player has a significant other, can the Knicks pay them to be extra good? There's their guy. And if they don't have a significant other, can we hire some world-class hookers just to like make these guys happy?
You know what? Just marry RJ.
You marry RJ. All the players could be like, maybe Grimes is like, if you just find me someone, I'll start hitting threes.
Yeah. I mean, IQ's best game was when Ice Spice was in the crowd, so maybe just sit her front row every game.
Yeah, like iHeart's like, this model showed up at my hotel and like, I don't know, out of nowhere. Knicks are like, wow, Hart's playing pretty well tonight.
With Hart, you'd probably have to bring like food too.
I was thinking of iHeart. Yeah. Hart, you'd bring like, oh, you brought pizza and popcorn. Great.
Yeah. 50-point game.
50-point game. I do think Josh Hart needs to look for his offense a little more. I know he got like 4. They might need him just to look for a little more off. I know he was a great passer and everything else. But every once in a while, he passes. He does not take a shot, and it annoys the hell out of him.
There was a couple times where he passed up wide open shots,
and he's so unselfish, which is great. But I need him to be a little more. I need to get the basket myself.
Yeah.
Anthony writes, Last night was very ugly, intense, and really frustrating, yet we got the W. Are the Knicks feeling like they regained momentum after losing the series opener?
I'm torn. Like, they got the win, so you can't say they're coming off of a win. I felt like, considering Butler was out, the win should have been more decisive. But you always feel better with a win. Miami doesn't have the best home crowd, especially with the Knicks. Like,
there are a lot of New Yorkers. They're going to be in that home
crowd. A lot of
crowd.
New Yorkers, yeah. So it's not like there's going to be a huge home court advantage. So, I guess I would say they have slight momentum.
I also think, like, look in the Cleveland series. The Knicks won game one, got crushed in game two, and then came back and won the rest of the series.
Mm-hmm.
I think guys have, like, the Knicks aren't going to be like, oh my God, Butler didn't play and we barely won the game. I think the Knicks, like, the game's over. They're like, we got the W.
Right.
We're happy
now
with
it's
the
a
W.
best of five. Series.
Yeah. I think they don't like how they got there. Once they got the W, they forget how they got there.
Yep.
And the same thing also, if the Knicks had blown the Heat out by 30 yesterday, is that better? I mean, it's better in the sense of, like, they beat decisively the team without Butler. But on the other hand, then maybe they go into game three overconfident.
It's possible. I mean, maybe shock to the system, a little bit of adversity. You never know.
Yeah. I mean, maybe sometimes it's better to have to struggle. Like, the series is a war. Maybe it's better to have every game be a war as opposed to having, like, an easy game and then you let your guard down the next game.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if Cleveland, like, in game three, like, they crushed the Knicks in game two. They were like, okay, this is going to be easy. And then they got punched back in the face.
It is rare that you see the same team completely blow out another team in the playoffs back-to-back games.
Yeah. This series, it'll go 6. It might go 7. I would be shocked this series is over in 5.
I would too.
And the next two games,
either way, yeah.
The goal is to win one of the next. I mean, to win both of them obviously is the goal, but, like, we win one of the next two. Like, things are, like, where they need to be.
Yeah. Yep.
And obviously, like, it'd be great if we win Saturday because I can't take losing Saturday.
Yeah.
I don't need to, like, be like, oh shit, we're down 2-1. LJ Sampson writes, are we going to see a brawl in this series?
Probably not. But
do you see Tibbs hanging on to Bam's leg?
I mean, who's going to be PJ Brown?
Yeah, I don't know. So let's say a fight. Forget the previous scenario. What happened a number of years ago? If a fight is going to break out, how is the fight going to go down?
It's probably going to be Lowry starting it by doing some dirty shit because he's clearly the dirtiest player on the court.
Are we going to say he does something to Randle?
Yes.
Randle gets pissed off,
mm-hmm.
and then as they're going kind of back and forth, getting into each other's face, Josh Hart out of nowhere just flies in there and beats them, like, just punches Lowry in the face.
I can't tell. I can't tell if Hart would jump in like that or he would, like, grab a beer and, like, watch from. Like,
I think Hart is the guy where, like, he's like a great friend that, like, just fucks with you.
Yeah.
But, like, when shit goes down, he's the guy you want. Basically, he's the guy that will throw down immediately. He won't be that, like, he won't be that guy you have to explain what's going on. He'll be like, just I'm there. Let's go.
Yeah. So that's
Josh Hart comes in, and then
I could see Hero trying to run in and, like, re-breaking his hand.
I think Gabe Vincent seems like a guy's ready to fight also.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Butler would be kind of, like, laughing about the whole thing and trying to avoid the actual fight. Ihart's going to punch Bam in the face. Let's go. And I see Tibbs just getting in, like, being like, break everything up and then getting in Spo's face. Let's go down. So how many Knicks are going to get suspended?
4 or 5. They'll suspend guys for, like, a toe on the line if they didn't even go in the court.
Hey, so there were 2 calls last night that went against the Heat that helped the Knicks.
Yeah.
One call was the 3-pointer that Brunson hit, where who got knocked down? It was There was the charge right before Brunson hit the three. Who was the one that got knocked down?
Lowry? The one
No,
are you
I
talking
mean,
about the one where Randle kind of
no, the play where Brunson's in the corner shooting the three. There was a charge, and then I think maybe Lowry ran into who did he run into on the Knicks?
I don't remember.
Was it iHeart or was it who basically set the pick?
I think it was, but I don't remember.
I forget. And then Brunson shot the three, and even in real time, I was like, the foul happened before Brunson shot. They're never going to uphold this. And then they watched the replay and they upheld it, which I was like, fine. I mean, that's great, Scott Foster. I'm glad you're into extending the series, but there's no way that call should have happened that way.
It was iHeart. Okay, thank you. Yeah, it was. There's a reason they call him the extender.
Extender. This game you want this game to go longer? I'll make it happen. Don't worry. I guess the call there is that the foul hasn't quite happened till the guy is like. It's not when the guy makes the contact. It's like until the contact's over.
I don't know.
So
I just think
it's going up.
I just think it's dumb that you can negate a 3-pointer by fouling somebody somewhere else on the court. Like it should be like football where you can turn down the penalty.
Yeah, hockey, like the penalty's not called, the other team gets the ball or gets the puck.
Yeah.
I feel like NBA, like I hate when the teams can use a foul as a weapon, and I feel like they should change the rules a little bit so like you can't use a foul as a weapon, basically. Like exactly that situation, like you knock the guy down, Knicks can still shoot the three and get the
right. Like JS just said, I'd be pushing people for every open three. Yeah, like you play the Warriors every time Steph has an open three, you just push Looney and like negate the three. Like it's dumb.
I mean, at the very least, like a player, if you hit the actual player, he gets continuation. You should have a couple seconds continuation.
Yeah.
Like if a play happens like 2 seconds later, you just get that.
Nomad writes, it's crazy how the Knicks still have a war chest of picks compared to other teams in the playoffs. When does Leon Rose get credit?
They did the front office awards, the executive of the year, and he did not get credit there. I think it went to the owner. Or have they announced it yet?
Yeah. It was the Kings owner. Second was the Cavs, which I thought was interesting considering how their season worked out. And
I assume the vote happens before the season is over.
I guess Leon Rose.
Before the playoffs. Sorry,
maybe that's Leon Rose was sixth.
Yeah, Leon Rose definitely deserves votes. I'd give it to Sacramento. I think that makes sense. Kobe Altman in Cleveland does not deserve the votes, the recognition they get. They did not seem to, and me, this is all having seen the Knicks beat the crap out of them. But I think people are overrating everything they did. They have a very good young team, but they also have now very limited options on how to make that team better.
JS writes,
what would you rather have right now? I mean, obviously, hindsight and everything, but like, would you have the Knicks situation where now they have all these picks, they get better, or Cleveland situation? I mean, they have a guy like Mobley, who in theory could be really good, and they got Donovan Mitchell, but they also have very limited options to make the team better now.
Yeah, they don't really own their draft picks for a long time. They're capped out. They don't have a lot of assets.
They're lacking a real big, because Jerry Allen's not the best big.
JS writes, will they ever call a moving screen on Bam, or are we going to have to deal with that the entire series? The Knicks should really just be petitioning to the league over the next 3 days, telling them to look at that, because he sets a pick and then he pushes the guy away. It's ridiculous.
Well, you got to scream about that during the game. Yeah, I mean I know people don't like complaining, but you have to make that clear to the refs.
If you petition before the game over the next couple days, it's going to be in their mind before the game even starts. That's what Cleveland did when the Knicks were mean after game 1, and they were calling a whole bunch of fouls in game 2.
That's a fair point. Base Nick fan writes, should the NBA suspend Jimmy at least 3 games for flipping off fans last night?
I think 3 is fair. Yeah.
I would take 4. I think that's really crazy.
It's pretty egregious.
I also would be in fairness, they should take Gabe Vincent with him. Maybe Bam too.
Shimmy writes, you guys were my first ever Knicks podcast years ago. I can't even remember. I'm astounded you don't have more followers. You guys are awesome. Thank you, Shimmy. We're astounded we don't have more followers too, but
We've settled into mediocrity, but our Knicks are playing well, though. That's all that matters.
He also writes, Knicks got their first second round win in more than a decade. Huge win playing with house money.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, it's people were saying
many-
37 wins and barely making the play-in, so this is nice.
How many wins did they get against Indiana? Was that they lose in 6?
What, 10 years ago?
Yeah, 10 years ago. Yes,
Yeah.
it was 6. Okay.
Yeah.
So they get one more. They match with them. How at least what that team did.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
And
And when they get past this series,
if they get past the series, they will have gone further than the Nets did with 3 Hall of Famers. So Anthony writes, here is my adjustment for next game and the rest of the series. Grimes should start again. The bench has disappeared without heart in it. Play some 3-2 zone. I think it'll help. No one on the Heat will go to the paint other than Jimmy. And the last point is, if IQ doesn't wake up, we are fucked.
yeah, maybe give IQ some smelling salts. Nick writes, do you want Doris Burke's soothing voice for every game going forward?
God, we have to deal with Reggie Miller and Doris Burke in the playoffs. Like, as if we
Is the
haven't
next-
had it rough enough.
Is the next game on ESPN? Because it's got to be Van Gundy.
Van Gundy's been getting like all the higher profile games.
But, I mean, like, can ESPN not make the connection?
I know, but they know Van Gundy's the A squad and Doris Burke is clearly not. So the next game is ABC, which
Okay,
is
so
good.
that should be Van Gundy. Because it's not like it's
yeah.
there's maybe it's not because the Knicks game is 3:30, I think. So like it's not the main game.
Yeah, no, he gets Lakers Warriors again.
I mean, come on.
I mean,
so ridiculous.
The Knicks game is at 3:30. Lakers Warriors is at 8:30. He could cover the Knicks game, jump on a plane, and do the Lakers Warriors game.
I mean, obviously he cannot do that, but at the same time, if your second crew is so bad, they cannot you cannot you have Van Gundy, you cannot have him do Miami versus the Knicks. Like, if you don't think you think Doris Burke sucks that much, just get rid of her and find someone better.
Yep.
And it also just get rid of her and find someone better, please. Just forgetting everything else.
Exactly.
Okay, so we think the Grimes to the starting rotation. We think Hart to the bench. The zone idea was an interesting idea. What other things do you want to see so the Knicks can win this goddamn series?
I mean, they need the guys who haven't stepped up to step up. They need better ball movement. We said Randle was a willing passer, but there was also a few times where there was a guy wide open. Brunson does it too. Brunson's elite in the paint, so most of the time you're like, oh, he didn't pass to Grimes, but then he'll do a floater and hit the shot anyway. But the Knicks could make more passes. There's always a guy open.
Yeah. By the way, I thought Ihart fouled out last night. It says at least the box score says he had 5 fouls. Did he foul? I thought he fouled out.
I didn't think he fouled out.
Oh, why did they take him out of the game?
I think they wanted Mitch in at the very end.
Oh, I thought when he got that last foul, I thought they took him out because he fouled out.
No, I thought he got his 5th foul, and then they said, let's put Mitch back in.
Oh, I thought they were putting Mitch back because he was out of the game.
It seemed like they were just going like all defense.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I want to see more dominance from Mitch. That's something I'd like to see that we have not seen. He didn't have I want to see a Game 5 Cleveland type of Mitch performance.
Yeah.
That would be really nice.
Yeah.
He needs to go hog wild.
He does.
It would also be nice to see Randle have an even bigger game going forward. He played overall there were some issues with his game yesterday, but generally he had 8 assists, 4 rebounds. He got 25 points. He was best game he's had in the playoffs so far.
Yeah. So he finally looks healthy. Ankles take a long time to heal. He finally and the Knicks have 3.5 days off before the next game. So really good news.
Knicks should also try this. I don't know. This is going to sound like a crazy strategy, Jay.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe cover the 3-point line a little bit.
That would be nice, yeah. But it's hard
Just-
with
just-
the ball movement. It makes it so hard.
Yeah, they always find the open guy. They literally always find the open guy. Because the Knicks also double a little too often.
Yeah.
They got to double a little bit less. Just rely on like the individual defenders.
Agreed.
You want to talk briefly around the league? What do you think of the Lakers beating the Warriors last night?
Shocked. I really am. Like, I know the Warriors haven't been the Warriors all season, but like, I don't know. I just didn't think the Lakers were that good.
Aberration, or the other Lakers going to win the series?
I still think Golden State's going to win, but it's going to be a tougher series than I originally thought.
Probably Lakers. Probably like Golden State, like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
What do you think? Denver up 2-0 on the Phoenix Suns, who apparently have only 5 players on the roster.
Love it. The Kardashian curse is alive and well. And
Why do you say that, Jay?
Kardashian or Jenner dated Devin Booker, and Chris Paul got injured, and now they're down 0-2.
Is Chris Paul out?
He's out for the next 3 games.
Then that is then Chris Paul is in typical playoff performance for him.
Yes.
Typical, like he's in playoff mode, like
Yep.
being injured.
Yep. 3 things given: death, love, and Chris Paul getting injured in the playoffs.
Is it going to be? Do you think
Death
Denver might
taxes.
sweep them?
It's possible because Phoenix is their bench is so bad, and without Chris Paul, like, it's very possible.
I've decided that Kevin Durant is the least likable superstar in the history of the NBA. So I would love to see him, or at least the one I like the least. I would so love to see him lose this series and get swept.
See, for me, it's Harden, who is losing by 29 points right now. He is 2 for 14, so we're into peak Harden playoffs too.
Harden is very not likable as well. I don't know. Durant's also another level of player. I think. So I think he's even more unlikable because Durant's an even better player than Harden.
Why does that make him more unlikable?
Harden never said, "Hey, that team that beat us, I gotta go play for them." He's never done like the moves that Durant has done are so much worse.
No, he said, "Hey, the team I'm on, I'm gonna show up fat and not try until they trade me 2 years in a row," which is worse. At least Durant was balling. He asked for a trade, but at least he like tried.
He tried. But him also asking off the Nets was just like such a bitch move. Oh my god.
Of course it was, but at least, like I said, at least he didn't show up out of shape and like tank until he got traded.
Yeah, I mean it's a solid argument. I'm gonna give the edge to Kevin Durant because I was like him less.
What if Boston wins this series and Harden leaves again, and Philly traded all these assets for Harden?
What if the Nets traded Harden and got all the assets they got were completely worthless?
And
I mean, there are a lot of what ifs on this. I also cannot wait until Kevin Durant says, "I don't want to be on Phoenix anymore. Let me find a better team. It's not fair that I don't have a better team with me."
He's going to show up in August in a Nuggets jersey.
I already seen that on Twitter, and I would not be surprised.
It wouldn't surprise me either.
Anything else, Jay?
No, we are out of time. Thank you so much, everybody who joined in the chat. We had a lot of people today. Appreciate it. And we will be back soon. Next game is like a week and a half from today. I can't believe
a week and a half from today.
Just joking. The games are so spaced out; it's ridiculous.
It really. So, by the way, so if these series go long, the next series go long, and then the finals go long, I think Game 7 is during training camp.
So yeah, next game Saturday, and which means we will probably do a show. Oh no, and then Monday, right? So we'll do a show Tuesday.
Yeah, or maybe Saturday night.
Maybe
I don't know, Jay.
Night. Maybe a bonus show. Who knows?
Maybe we can do a quick show after the game.
So thanks for following, everybody. If you want to leave us a voicemail, 516-584-4112. That's 516-584-4112. Want to email us?
Jay means to say, if you want to leave us a voicemail, at this point we'll be shocked.
Glad we set it up. Been in so many voicemails so far. So if you want to email us, nyknickspodcast@gmail.com, and our socials, nyknickspodcast. That's nyknickspodcast on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Patreon. You can leave us a review on Apple podcast app or any other app. That would be great. And follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/crumpledbacon, and YouTube, youtube.com/TITOWAJ. We will be back.
Anyway, the Celtics are only up by 8. I thought you said they were up by a lot more.
Refresh your browser. They're up by 28.
Oh, I was at my browser had the halftime. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. We will see you soon.
Bye, love. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go. This is the end.